trust him. I just don't know what he's capable of.
He gonna find out what you did.
What are you keeping from me?
We were alone and I was singing the song.
There are two types of people in this world. Those that reach for more, and those that just enjoy what they got.
The Chi Season 8, Episode 6 is about to do something this show has never done before. It's going to make a celebration the most terrifying scene of the entire season. Somebody at that party is one slip away from losing everything, and by the end of this breakdown, you'll know exactly who that person might be. The Chi Season 8, Episode 6 is set to drop on Paramount Plus this Friday, June 26th, with Showtime viewers catching it 2 days later, on Sunday the 28th. This is the back half of the final season, and the show is not slowing down for anybody. We are now past the halfway mark of this farewell run, and if the last episode taught us anything, it's that Nuck's death did not close a chapter, it ripped one wide open. His body might be gone, but the chaos he left behind is just getting started, and it's about to crash directly into a party that was supposed to be about love, not loss. Tiff is throwing Keisha and Emmett a lavish engagement party, and on paper, that sounds like exactly the kind of break this neighborhood needs after everything that's happened. But knowing this show, and knowing exactly how Tiff operates right now, that party is not going to stay peaceful for long. Tiff has spent this entire season transforming into something the South Side has not seen since Alicia was running things, and that is not a compliment. That is a warning. She is no longer the woman quietly grieving in the background. She has stepped fully into the role of businesswoman, protector, and now, after what happened with Nuck, a woman who has tasted exactly how far she's willing to go to keep her family safe. Hosting this engagement party while sitting on a secret that could destroy everyone in that room is the kind of contradiction this show thrives on, and Episode 6 is built to test whether she can keep smiling through it. Because here's the real tension underneath all that celebration. Keisha and Emmett have actually been one of the more stable pairs this season, but stability on the Chi never lasts, and wedding planning is exactly the kind of pressure that cracks even the strongest relationships. The synopsis makes it clear that the two of them are about to discover some real differences in how they each picture their big day. That might sound small compared to everything else going on, but think about the timing. This is happening in the same episode where Nuck's death is finally catching up with the people closest to him. Emmett is going to be dealing with wedding stress on one hand, and on the other hand, he's sitting on knowledge about what really happened to Nuck, knowledge that Keisha does not have yet. That is not a coincidence. That is a slow burn the writers have been setting up, and it's about to boil over right in the middle of what should be the happiest night of Keisha's life. Now, let's talk about the secret that could blow this entire season apart before the finale even gets here. Bakari is positioned as the one person who can shatter how Tiff sees Nuck, and that single sentence should be sending chills down your spine if you've been paying attention. Tiff has built her entire sense of justice this season around believing she did what had to be done. If Bakari knows something that changes the story, something that makes her question whether Nuck deserved what happened to him, or worse, something that implicates people she trusts, then this engagement party becomes the most dangerous room on the South Side. Imagine sitting across from someone, smiling, raising a glass to a happy couple, while holding information that could end a friendship, end a marriage, or end a life. That is exactly where this show seems to be pushing Bakari and Tiff right now, and the tension between them is not going to stay quiet for much longer. And while Tiff is trying to hold her world together with both hands, the streets are not waiting around for her to figure it out. With Nuck gone, there is a vacuum of power on the South Side, and vacuums like that never stay empty for long. Reg is positioned to step into that gap, and if you've watched this man operate over the past 2 seasons, you already know that Reg taking over does not mean things get calmer. It means things get colder, more calculated, and a lot more violent. The question Episode 6 seems to be asking is simple. Does anyone else have the strength, the connections, or the will to challenge Reg before he locks down control of the 63rd Street mob completely? Because if nobody steps up, this final season could end with Reg holding more power than he's ever had, and that should terrify every single person still loyal to Nuck's memory. Then there's Jake Taylor, a character who has spent most of this series as the calm, measured presence in a world full of chaos. But measured does not mean untouchable, and Reg has already proven that he knows exactly how to find a person's breaking point and push until it snaps. Since Reg's return at the end of last season, the friction between him and Jake has been building in small, quiet moments, the kind of moments that don't explode right away, but instead simmer until they have to. Episode 6 feels like the point where that simmer finally starts to show on the surface, and how Jake responds here could shape the rest of his story, heading straight into the finale. Does he stay calm and let Reg underestimate him? Or does this engagement party become the breaking point where Jake finally shows the South Side what he's really capable of? The deeper the season goes, the clearer it becomes that nobody on the South Side gets to walk away clean, and Victor might be the perfect example of that right now. This entire final season has been framed around the cost of the past finally catching up to people who thought they had outrun it, and Victor is sitting right at the center of that theme. He has spent years trying to balance two different lives, the man who wants to do right by the people closest to him, and the man who still has ties to a world that does not let go easily. With Nuck's death now hanging over everything, Victor cannot afford a single misstep. One wrong word at that engagement party, one slip in front of the wrong person, and the secret he and Tiff have been protecting could unravel in front of an entire room of witnesses. The pressure on him right now is not just about loyalty anymore, it's about survival, and survival on this show has never come without a price. And then there's Shad, whose entire arc this season has been about fighting to escape consequences that were never fully his to carry in the first place. The fight to overturn an unfair prison sentence has pushed patients down a path of digging for proof, real proof, the kind that could either set things right or expose even more buried truth in the process. That search for justice does not exist in a vacuum on this show. Every time someone starts pulling at old threads, new people get caught in it, and with the streets already destabilized after Nuck's death, Patience's investigation could not be happening at a more dangerous time. If she gets close to the truth now, while Reg is busy consolidating power and Tiff is busy hiding her own secret, she might end up exposing far more than just Shad and Victor's case. She could end up exposing exactly how deep the rot goes on the South Side, and that is not the kind of truth this neighborhood lets surface quietly. Darnell's story this season has carried a different kind of weight, the quiet, grinding weight of trying to hold a family together while everyone around him is making choices that put that family at risk. He has never been the loudest voice in the room, but he has always been one of the steadiest, and steady people on the Chi tend to get pulled into chaos eventually, whether they want to be or not. With an engagement party bringing almost everyone connected to this story into one room, it is hard to imagine Darnell staying on the sidelines for the entire episode. The tension between the people he loves and the secrets they are keeping has been building for weeks now, and episode 6 feels like the moment where staying quiet stops being an option for him too. Now, let's circle back to Keisha, because underneath all the wedding planning and the party preparations, there is a grief sitting in her that nobody in that room is fully addressing yet. She lost someone connected to Nuck's world, and even with an engagement to celebrate, that loss does not just disappear because there's cake and champagne involved. The hardest part of this episode might not be the differences she and Emmett have over wedding details. It might be the moment she realizes just how much has been kept from her about what actually happened to Nuck. Emmett knows things. Tiff knows things. Victor knows things. And Keisha is standing in the middle of all of it, planning the happiest day of her life while everyone closest to her quietly decides how much truth she's allowed to have. That kind of dramatic irony is exactly what the Chi has built its reputation on, and episode 6 looks like it is about to use it at full strength. It's also worth stepping back and looking at what this season means in the bigger picture, because this is not just another chapter. This is the final stretch of a show that has run for 8 seasons and earned its place alongside some of Showtime's longest-running series. Lena Waithe built this show on the idea of owning narratives and telling stories with real truth and complexity, and you can feel that intention in every storyline this season, even the ones that seem smaller on the surface, like a wedding disagreement or an old flame resurfacing. None of it is filler. Every thread is connected to the larger question of what happens to a community when violence becomes generational, when revenge becomes inheritance, and when the people trying to escape that cycle keep getting pulled right back into it. So as we head into When Truth Thaws, the title is doing a lot of heavy lifting, and it should not be ignored. Truth does not thaw on its own. Something has to apply pressure first. Something has to force it to the surface after being frozen and buried for this long. That pressure is coming from every direction at once this episode, from Bakari's secret, from Reg's rise, from Patience's investigation, and from a wedding that was supposed to be a celebration and might instead become the moment this entire fragile piece breaks apart in front of everyone who's been trying to hold it together. What makes this episode genuinely nerve-wracking is how many different fuses are burning at the exact same time, all of them lit, all of them getting shorter, and all of them set to converge in the same room. That is the real danger of an engagement party on a show like this. It is not a wedding venue, it is a pressure cooker, and every character walking through that door is carrying something heavy enough to bring the whole celebration crashing down. Tiff is carrying the weight of what she did to Nuck and the fear of who might find out. Victor is carrying a secret he cannot afford to let slip, not even for a second. Bakari is carrying information that could end the fragile trust Tiff has placed in the people around her. And Keisha, the one person who deserves a night of pure happiness before her wedding, is the one person most likely to get hurt when all of this finally breaks open. That kind of dramatic setup does not happen by accident. The Chi has spent 8 seasons mastering the art of making celebration feel like the most dangerous place a character can be, and episode 6 looks like it is about to prove that one more time before the season is through. Think about what it actually means for Reg to be positioned as the one stepping into the power vacuum left behind by Nuck. This is not just a plot point. This is the South Side entering a new and far more unpredictable era. Nuck, for all his violence, was at least a known quantity. People understood how he thought, what lines he wouldn't cross, who he protected, and who he didn't. Reg is a different kind of threat entirely. He is patient, he is calculating, and he has already shown this season that he knows exactly how to exploit tension between people who used to be united. If he locks down control of the 63rd Street mob while everyone else is distracted by a wedding and buried secrets, the South Side could be looking at a power shift far more dangerous than anything Nuck ever built. And the scariest part is that almost nobody at that engagement party seems focused on stopping it because they're all too busy trying to survive their own personal storms. That's really what this episode comes down to when you strip away all the individual storylines. It's a story about people who are so consumed by protecting their own secrets that they cannot see the bigger danger closing in around all of them. Tiff is protecting her secret. Victor is protecting his. Bakari is holding on to leverage instead of using it to warn anyone. Patience is digging for truth that could expose people she cares about. Jake is trying to stay composed while Reg pushes him toward a breaking point. And in the middle of all of it, Keisha and Emmett are just trying to plan a wedding, completely unaware that the ground beneath their celebration is cracking with every secret being whispered around them. When you frame it that way, when truth thaws feels less like a title and more like a warning. Something this season has kept frozen for a long time is finally about to melt, and once it does, there will be no controlling where it spreads. It's worth sitting with the emotional weight of where this show has brought us. 8 seasons ago, The Chi introduced us to a South Side full of people just trying to survive, connect, and find some version of redemption in a neighborhood that rarely makes that easy. Now, in its final stretch, the show is asking its hardest question yet. Can any of these characters actually escape the cycle they were born into, or does every attempt at peace, every wedding, every reconciliation, every quiet moment of happiness eventually get swallowed by the same violence that's been driving the story since season 1? Episode 6 feels like it's building toward an answer, and based on everything pointing toward this engagement party, that answer might not be the hopeful one fans have been hoping for. This is exactly why episode 6 matters so much heading into the final stretch of the series. It's not just another step toward the finale, it's the moment where every quiet decision made earlier this season starts demanding a price. Whatever happens at that party, whoever's secret finally slips out first, the South Side is not going to look the same once the truth actually thaws. And honestly, that's what makes this final season of The Chi so hard to look away from. It's not chasing shock value, it's earning every single gut punch by making us care about these people first, which means whatever breaks at this engagement party is going to hurt in a way that lingers long after the credits roll. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Keisha finds out the truth about Nuck before the wedding even happens? Or do you think Tiff and Victor manage to keep the lid on just a little longer? Do you think Reg takes full control of the streets uncontested? Or does someone finally step up to challenge him before it's too late? Drop your predictions in the comments below, because this fanbase always sees things coming that I don't, and I want to hear every theory you've got. If this breakdown kept you hooked, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next breakdown the moment new details drop, and turn on notifications because the Chi is moving fast right now, and you don't want to fall behind. Thank you for riding with me through this one, and I'll see you in the next video.